Hey, just a word. This is Brian from justaword.org. You know, the English language, I have said this several times, the English language cannot adequately translate the Hebrew nor the Greek original scriptures from the Bible. And as such, we often get flawed translations that lead us into the wrong direction. This serves the religious well. It serves those who are in charge of religion because it gets us to obey what they want us to obey, not necessarily the truth. Does it matter? Well, the Messiah said, if the blind lead the blind, they shall both end up in a ditch. And the word also says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because ye seek not knowledge. So we can be destroyed for what we don't know. And so the onus is on us to find truth. And that is why I do what I do, because I relentlessly search for biblical truth. And when I find it, or when it is revealed to me, I reveal it to others. Who hath ear to hear, let them hear. Okay? And today we'd like to look at just one of those flawed, one of those mistranslations that totally, radically change the truth and give us a different way, which is not the way of the Father. And the Bible is the greatest book in the world because it prophesies world events accurately. The reason for this is that the Most High works by setting what the Bible calls appointed times. Yes, He gives us free will, but in between He appoints events and leaves us to see how we deal with these events. Exodus 9 verse 5, and Yahweh appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow Yahweh shall do this thing in the land. An appointed time. Job 7 verse 1. Is there not an appointed time to man upon earth? Are not his days also like the days of an hireling? Daniel 8:19. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. So everything is appointed from the beginning to the end. You see, all the appointed times are about the Father's will, which is to effect a great selection of righteous people who have accepted salvation through His Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. These righteous people will be obedient. They will not be rebellious. The rebellious cannot enter His kingdom. These righteous remnant will live eternally in the kingdom of Elohim and of His Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. For these people, He sets specific appointments. Unfortunately, most of us who think we are His do not keep these appointments. Now, what am I talking about? Well, let's see. It all begins in Ha-Bereshit, or Genesis. So we go to Genesis 1 verse 14. And Elohim said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And we look at the word seasons. This is the word on which this entire video is based. The word seasons. And if you look at the original Hebrew that was used for that was translated to English as seasons, we see that it is moed, M-O-E-D, moed, plural of which is moedim. And we look for the definition. It is appointed time, place, or meeting. There's no spring, summer, autumn and winter there. Appointed time, place, or meeting. And It is from the root word ya'ad, which means meet, simply to meet. Radically different from spring, summer, autumn, winter, which we have erroneously followed because of the translation that was placed there in the English translation of seasons. Because seasons to us is spring, summer, autumn, winter. The most common meaning, as you can see, is meeting. The second most common meaning is appointed time. And the third most common meaning is appointed feasts. If you have not yet figured it out, we will see further what it means by looking at its usage elsewhere. Leviticus 23 verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. If we look at the Hebrew word for feast as used here, we see that it is none other than moed, which was translated as seasons in Genesis 1:14, plural of which is moedim. And let's go to Leviticus 23:4. These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. So if we put it all together, he created the sun and the moon, lights in the heavens, for signs of times to meet for his feasts. The same feasts that most Christians say are done away with. From creation, the great lights were made to show his appointed times, as shown in this verse. Leviticus 23 verse 4. These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their appointed times. Or the English translation there is seasons. These feasts, by the way, in Leviticus 23:2 includes the weekly Shabbat. These appointed times made from creation are for his people. His times when he wants to meet with his people. We cannot keep an appointment if we don't attend at the specific time or the specified time and date. He created the lights in the heavens for us to meet together for holy meetings, to praise and worship him at specific times stated and decided by him. Now check out this appointment. Devarim 16 verse 16, or Deuteronomy 16 verse 16. 3 times in a year shall thy males appear before Yahweh thy Elohim in the place which he shall choose. The place which he shall choose. Everything is up to him, not us. No decision is up to us. In the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles. And they shall not appear before Yahweh empty. Those are appointments, scheduled and decided on by the Most High Father, to whom we must and should be obedient. That is one of the reasons he created the sun and the moon, to point us to the exact time of his appointments. Now, what those of us keeping these traditions of men, these appointments of men, Sunday worship, Christmas appointment, Easter appointment, and not keeping the appointments ordained by the Most High. What of those? The problem is, those appointments are not his. They are the appointments decided on and created by man. He already set his appointments. And we know, I know, I don't know if you know, but we know that he does not change. Malachi 3:6, for I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. He does not change. There is no new him, no new feasts. Those feasts decided on by man and given to him, they are not his appointments. When you appear at your time, the time that you decide, the time that the feast that you create, when you appear at your time, what will happen? What will happen? And I'll use this to highlight it. Imagine getting a job interview and the interviewer specified a time and a date, which they always do. What if you unilaterally decide that you don't like that date? You will set your own date. When you appear at your time, what will happen? Will the interviewer be there? Will you be able to get the job? I don't want you to answer it. Just think about it.
Realize that we have the ability, the capacity to do things. God will leave in you an ability to do things that you are not authorized to do. Adam and Eve both had the ability to choose the wrong thing, but they didn't have the authority to do it. And you can have ability to do stuff that you don't have the authority to do. You have to operate in your authority, only in your authority. You know, just because you got the ability to do something does not mean you have the authority. And this is where King Saul messed it up and lost everything. You can lose everything that you've got by doing stuff that you've got the ability to do, but you have no authority to do it.
I implore you, stop following denominational Christian religion and follow truth. Your soul is at risk. The feasts were prepared from creation. They were created as appointed meetings for his people. What's more, they will also be celebrated in the kingdom to come as well. So they were created from creation. We were told to keep them, and then in the future, in the kingdom, they will also be kept. Just read Zechariah 14, 9 to 21. And that means they are to be kept forever. There is no expiration date. That means all believers should be keeping them. That means you and I should be keeping them. The Messiah kept them. The apostles kept them. When did they change? They changed when Europeans, took the faith, and because of their war and hatred for the Jews at the time, when they took the faith, they decided they didn't want to have anything at all to do with anything of the Jews. So all the Jewish traditions that were given through the word, the Sabbaths and the feasts, were rejected. And because of that, we now have, it was handed down to us through Christianity, and because of that, we have this erroneous doctrine, we have this erroneous religion that was not the will of Yahweh, that was not ordained by him, but by man. So let's go back to where I started. Genesis 1:14. And Elohim said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for meetings, appointed times, feasts." It shouldn't be seasons. And for days and years.
I'm gonna go on and do it my way. You got full ability to do that, but you have zero authority to do it. The authority says, "Submit your therefore under the mighty hand of God, and he will exalt you in due season." He's got an appointed time.
So, if you have set your own appointment, referring to the Christian days, Christian holidays, that is rebellion. And the Most High compares rebellion with the abomination of witchcraft. So we come to this. Matityahu or Matthew 7:22-23. Many will say to me in that day, Sovereign, sovereign, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name have done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. I never knew you. Depart from me. Go away. Ye that work iniquity, or ye that work lawlessness. The question is, will you keep the appointments of the Father according to his will? Or will you continue to rebelliously set and keep the appointments of man according to man's will? That is the question. Shalom. For more videos and teachings, you can visit justaword.org. Thank you.